Hey there, folks. It's your old pal, Daryl Scronch, from Daryl Scronch's Super Wacky Orphanage and Combination Auto Body Shop. Back again to tell you about our newest service. I'll get right to the point. Are any of you out there literally sick of not having any health care? Have you been butt-fucked by genetics or just made enough consecutively poor decisions in your life that one or more of your organs is failing? Is it hard to get a spare kidney, liver, or heart? Well, don't you worry another minute about all that mess, because Mr. Scrouch got you covered. Introducing Daryl Scronch's Orphan Organ Harvesting and Installation Service. That's right, folks. I still got all these orphans who still got all their organs, and they are farm fresh. With prices so low, you'll swear it's too good to be true. Now, a condition of my parole is that I can no longer perform unlicensed surgery on any man or beast, which means my little orphan helpers will be doing the job themselves. No third-party handling, straight from body to body. If you're worried about the legality, don't be. No one gives a fuck about these kids. So just come on down with $75 in cold hard cash, and you'll be walking home with a barely used organ and a new lease on life.
Any of Daryl Scronch's Super Wacky Orphanage and Combination Auto Body Shops are to be closed at once, and Daryl Scronch immediately returned to prison. If you or someone you know has any information on the whereabouts or operations of Daryl Scronch, call your local or federal law enforcement agencies right away. Organ harvesting legal only in the People's Republic of China.
A Shin Show.
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 Episode 1 of Season 4 of Attack on Titan dropped today. We could probably watch it on Anime Update.
I know you've been recommending
Yes.
Team Titan for some time. Attack on Titan. Sorry. Not Team Titan. Totally different thing.
Yeah, we're actually just gonna rewatch the whole thing. It's fucking amazing show. So good. Whole lot of mystery. You got no idea what the fuck's going on. And then it's like so not what you thought. Really crazy twist. Crazy twist.
How crazy is the twist?
So crazy.
It's unbelievably... You're not going to believe this twist.
It's criminally insane.
How crazy this twist is.
Yeah.
And this is Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan, yeah.
And of course, it differs from Team Titan in that it has nothing to do with the DZ universe.
That's true, but Teen Titans is a good show, too. The original Teen Titans, that was a good show. It was like a show for kids, but it had heavy themes.
Adult themes.
Yeah, and then they remade it, and it's called Teen Titans Go, and it sucks. It's a bastardization.
Teen Titans was awesome.
Yeah, Teen Titans was the shit.
Well, where's Sarah, goddammit?
I don't know where she is. But, she'll join in the fullness of time. Due course.
Or she won't. In which case, we'll just press on. In fact, we will press on. We're just going to press the start of the show. Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
Thanks for starting the show by farting audibly in the sound booth. And I'm going to be trapped in here now with this juicy fart. Thank you so much.
It was an accident.
Was it, though? I mean, you literally said, I'm going to push record. That's how that happened. That's exactly how that just happened.
No, it's not true.
Okay. Listeners, you can decide between the two of us who you think is probably more likely to tell the truth. It's fine. No judgment, but we all know. Okay, bye-bye.
My intention was not to fart. It was just to lean forward, but in the act of leaning forward, my anus became loosened. And when it became loosened, then air escaped, and it vibrated the lips of the anus so that it made a sound.
If your barely perceptible movement of your anus caused that kind of flatulence to escape, I'm going to say you knew it was there waiting.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I thought it would be quiet. Well, so much for my farts, but let me play you this. President Trump made his way to Georgia this weekend, where he spoke for an hour and 45 minutes. We've summed it up for you in about 20 seconds.
You know, we won Georgia, just so you understand. Very simply, you will decide whether your children will grow up in a socialist country or whether they will grow up in a free country. There's no way this could have happened other than the obvious cheating or a rigged election. There's no way it could have happened.
President-elect Joe Biden had the following response.
I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. they'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
May God have mercy on our souls.
The Biden clip is hilarious. Obviously, one of my faves. Gonna go down in the annals of presidential history forever, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm also not sure it's fair to play it in response to what basically is very incendiary and authoritarian type of discussion. And it seems like all the people with brain cells in the judicial department are keeping this thing at a dull roar. But people believe this shit that he's saying, and that's horrifying. That's problematic. That shouldn't be happening.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, you can't say that kind of shit. You can't say that you have to choose between your children growing up in a socialist country or a free country. The implication there is that if you don't vote for Trump, your children are not going to grow up in a free country. You can't say that to crowds of frothing masses as the president. That's going to cause problems. That's like inciting something. That's just not.
But it's not just that. If it was just that, that's one thing. He was saying that on the campaign trail. But to be saying it now that he's lost and to say that there's no way that the vote was real.
Despite all of the evidence to the contrary.
Exactly.
You just double down, triple down, quadruple down.
In fairness, his comments about the socialist hellscape that people would be voting for or not voting for, that was in response to the two senators who are in runoff races down in Georgia, Senator Kelly Loeffler and Senator David Perdue. And if indeed they both win, Republicans retain control of the Senate. If they both lose, then Democrats retain control of the Senate. So it's high stakes. Actually, only one of the Republican candidates has to win for the Republicans to maintain control of the Senate. So it's an incredibly important series of races. And the only reason that it's happening at all is because they had a runoff after the November 3rd election when both seats were open. It's a kind of unusual situation where you'd have both Senate seats in play at the exact same time at the exact same date. Very unusual. But that's the way it's happening. And so very important race coming up on January 5th, which is why Trump was down there promoting Senators Loeffler and Perdue. But really, he was promoting himself because that's just what he do.
Yeah, well, good on him.
You know, I read a thing recently that said Republicans, after being disillusioned with a rigged election, are not going to vote in those runoff races, to which I say, good. Bring on the socialist hellscape.
That's the thing. Trump's saying, hey, the election is rigged, but your election still counts. Now, if the election is rigged, why would you go vote?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
So I think that President Trump is cutting off his nose to spite his face, but we'll all find out on January 5th.
They were saying that before they had announced the election results. He was like, oh, stop counting. But even his advisors were like, yeah, if you do that, you'll lose. So what are you doing?
The other point LCU made was that it's not fair to have that funny clip of Joe Biden in response. But the fact is that Joe Biden isn't responding to any of the accusations that President Trump is making. Doesn't seem to be anyway.
Which I think is the right course of action. It all goes down to the Mark Twain quote, never arguing with an idiot. They'll beat you with experience and drag you down to their level. And he's refusing to play into that, which I think gives me hope.
Yeah, I like the whole just ignore the raving lunatic thing and get on.
That's
get
all
back
you can
on,
do.
Get back on track.
Is it all you can do, or can you point out, hey, this guy's a raving lunatic? I think that's a fair thing to point out.
I think he'll do that once he's in office.
If you have a lick of sense in your brain, you can just see that. Why do you need to say that? Why do you need to say this dude's a fucking lunatic? He just is. You can just see it with your eyes.
Yeah, we all know the emperor has no clothes.
The reason that you have President-elect Biden right now speak out against this kind of nonsense is because he's got the moral authority to declare it to be insane. Somebody has to step up and say, President Trump isn't wearing any clothes. And you'd like the Republicans to do it. But in the meantime, you've got to have the duly elected president-elect of the United States come out forcefully and say, our election system is fair, it's honest, it's got integrity, and it worked. If he doesn't say it, then it goes unchallenged. And right now, it is going completely unchallenged. I disagree with that philosophy.
I feel like that will be the core tenet of his acceptance speech or whatever.
You mean his inauguration address?
Yeah, I don't know what I said, but yeah, that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like worth acknowledging. Like, everyone knows the dude's crazy. Why do we need a whole speech saying that he's crazy? You can tell he's just not telling the truth.
45% of the country agrees with Trump. So if you don't denounce him, then you're allowing those people to go unchecked as well.
But I do think it's wise for Biden to wait until he actually has power and the presidential office before denouncing any of it.
That's your opinion. I disagree with it. I believe Biden has to step up to the pump and criticize this, or otherwise he's just a doddering old fool.
Well, he is that
Wow.
either way.
Exactly.
Dude's brain's coming out of his ears. It's all fucked all the way around. All this, actually, whatever he should or shouldn't do, whichever one, is just, it's all pretend. It's too fucked. Like, everything is too twisted and gnarled out of its original intended form. Like, now it's all just formalities, you know?
No, I don't know what you're meaning at all.
You don't know what I'm meaning at all. All right, let me say it clearer. This country is over. It's over, okay? The people running it are not fit to be running it. At almost every serious authoritative level, everyone is there because they were bought or because they are going to be bought. All this stuff, all these policies, like Joe Biden needs to come out and say Trump is crazy. He needs to come out and say that. Why, really? Like, how much longer are we holding on to the face of this cliff? And no matter who denounces what.
Fair enough. But there was somebody, anyway, who was rich enough to buy and sell several politicians several times over. A guy named Tony He. I think that's how you pronounce it. It could be pronounced Tony C. I don't know. How do you pronounce a guy whose last name is Hsieh? Sarah, do you know? You used to work in computer science.
The hell's that have to do with anything?
Well, because you know how to pronounce...
Your father's racist.
You know how to pronounce Asian names, because all of your professors were Asian.
Nope, all of my fellows were Indian. Try again.
Ah, damn it. I'm sorry, my racist stereotype didn't pay off there. But anyway, Tony C, or Tony Hees, or however you pronounce his name, but he was the CEO of Zappos, which was a company that was bought out by Amazon in 2009 for a ton of money. So he is worth about $849 billion, or he was until he died tragically in a house fire in Connecticut last week. And now it's come out that he was addicted to alcohol and most certainly nitrous oxide, which is a weird
that's
thing to be
interesting.
addicted to.
It's not that weird to be addicted to.
Isn't it?
I mean, it's kind of weird. That doesn't seem like a very designer drug.
And I didn't know you could actually be addicted to it, but I've known some people who like it so much that they do way too much, way too often.
A lot of people at music festivals, a lot of
Oh, yeah.
whippet circles.
Yeah, man. Hippie crack.
And they're fun. It's fun, sure.
Yeah,
Whippets are
yeah.
fun, but it's not
so
like...
much fun.
Yeah, you don't need to ruin your entire
Right.
$1 million life for it.
You don't think you should spend your $849 billion fortune in pursuit of the finest whiskey and whippets?
849 million. But yeah, well, I don't know. The finest whiskey, sure, I guess, every once in a while. But the longer you go having that fortune, it seems like your urge to party would die out eventually. You do all the crazy drugs that people don't even know about. And then
If you like it, you like it.
What's interesting in particular about Tony C is that he made a career out of trying to make people happy. That was his big focus at Zappos, was running the company in a way that would make its employees happy.
Which is nice. And that's why he's into hippie crack, because he's a hippie.
that altruistic, I mean, seemingly, we don't really know what this guy was really thinking, what his true motives were, but this seemingly altruistic tactic to running a business made him $849 million. So not too shabby.
Yeah,
Maybe that's a good business model.
He did okay. So it's unseemly the way he passed away, right? It appears that he passed away as a victim of his addiction, probably to alcohol and whippets, because he died in a house fire. He was barricaded inside a shed, and he probably would have been able to avoid that situation if he'd have been sober. I'm speculating. I don't know. I'm not trying to defame the guy. All I'm saying is that he did so many good things with his life that people are almost embarrassed to talk about the fact that he was also probably addicted to these things. And my point is simply this. Addiction is a medical disease, and it doesn't really matter how much money you have or how much good you did in the world. If you're an addict, it's going to catch up with you, even if you have $849 million.
But more often, it's people like my friend's nephew who had an overdose last night on opioids.
And died?
Yes.
If it weren't for the pandemic, we'd still be talking about an opioid pandemic that is costing 70,000 Americans their lives every year.
If you're one of the Christian faith, there's really no better argument for the devil walking around than addiction.
True story.
I disagree with that. I don't understand it. So the devil makes people who are addicts do it?
I mean, addiction is powerful, man. Yeah, it's all just chemical processes or whatever, but I
if
think
you
it's
have
a good metaphor for the devil. Addiction as the devil.
I get kind of the metaphor is that, like, when you're addicted to something, you in your own mind will talk yourself into doing things. It is a conversation you have in your own head. All right, I shouldn't do this. Yeah, but I've been good this week. If I just take it easy. And then while you're doing it, there's a voice that gets quieter. I said this about quitting cigarettes, but there's a voice that gets quieter every second that's like, we can't do it. What are you talking about? We're done. We're not doing that anymore. And it just gets quieter because there's another part of you that's like, we just have one or two. It's fine. Come on. One or two ain't going to kill you because there's a chemical in your brain that's telling you, I want this right now. I want it. And I want it now. So you have to talk yourself out of it.
And then watching people descend into addiction is terrible, man.
Sure. And if you're dumb, you might think that that's the devil. But really, it's yourself, which is scarier.
Well, yeah, I'm saying as an outside person watching people descend into addiction, I can totally see the metaphor of it being an evil thing.
Sure.
That marijuana, it be the devil, Bobby.
Yeah, we don't believe in that marijuana is the devil's lettuce here, but nice try.
No, I mean, 50% of the people on this podcast, at a minimum, are addicts. Confirmed. There's no denying that. So we have some insight on this show into addiction. Nothing but sympathy for Tony C. is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a lot easier to say, wow, this sure looks like the work of the devil than the work of a medical problem.
Why can't it be both?
What's the deal? You've been reading that fucking pamphlet in your basement too much? You're going to start telling us about the stench in the flesh now?
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, we got a lovely letter in the mail this week from the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're not going door to door because of the pandemic, but they wanted us to know that in these chaotic times, they're here for us, and they've got a great website we can check out to learn how to bring God's kingdom here to earth.
That's nice of them that they're not going door to door. I wonder if they really believe, how they feel about this pandemic.
They don't believe in it. I can tell you that right now. But they also know that most people in this part of the world, especially on the East Coast, do believe in the pandemic. And so as a result, no one's going to answer some unmasked Jehovah's Witness at their door. So, hey, I'll send you a letter. That said, we shared this Jehovah's Witness letters on a Zoom party with some religious friends that we have. And they made all sorts of fun of the Jehovah's Witnesses and what a cult it is and so on. And I couldn't help thinking, hey, pal, is the Jehovah's Witnesses any more of a cult than what you believe?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Especially at this time of Christmas, when we tell the tale of the underage Palestinian girl knocked up by God Almighty, and this Palestinian girl wanders into Bethlehem with her not even baby daddy, some guy willing to get a ready-made family. I guess if you know God's the Father, you got to feel like there's going to be some kind of payoff. So anyway, they wander into town. No room in the inn. They got to put this God-child in a manger. Yeah, that's definitely more believable.
But also, your dad had the best idea ever this week, and it made me so happy. So for our Christmas cards next year, we're going to have him in a Joseph outfit, me in a Mary outfit, and we'll stick Brad in just an adult diaper in a manger, but like a small manger, so only his ass fits and the rest of him's hanging out.
Yeah, that I actually like that.
Right?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it is good because Brad is, some of you may know, some of you may not know, Brad is our 18-year-old son. When we went to Ecuador last year, his nickname was El Niño Grande, large boy. He's a big young man, strapping with a mustache. He looks like he's about 46.
You should give him 18. The stigmata as well.
Absolutely. That's a great idea.
Thorns, blood, all that. Make it real gory.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Brad's right outside the recording booth. He doesn't know what's being said about him. Brad, we're just talking about...
But he knows that it is about him.
Yeah, we're talking about the Christmas card idea where you would be a giant baby Jesus.
Oh, yeah, where I'm large and in charge?
Yeah, exactly.
You have my consent.
All right, we have his consent. That's important. Well, thanks for stopping by, Brad. Great to see you.
You could do like a whole photo shoot, really. You could get him, you start off in the manger. He's the same size the whole time, has the stigmata the whole time. But eventually, you got the next one of him carrying the cross and you two are Roman centurions whipping him. And then do like a whole, I guess, a calendar or a photo album, I guess. A calendar would be nice.
Wow, this is an outstanding merchandising opportunity.
Love it.
Then you have him at the Last Supper, and then one of you is just rubbing your hands evilly off to the side.
I guess I would be the Judas character in that scenario.
Sure.
Well, that's great. Look on our website in the days ahead for our 2021 Jesus as Bradley calendar. It's going to be great.
I can't wait.
Or Bradley as Jesus calendar.
The Life of Christ, a Journey. That's what it's going to be called.
It's going to be awesome. What do you think we should price that at? $600-700 a pop?
Yeah. I'd say so. This ain't going to be cheap.
Oh, no, not at all. the whole cross setup, all of the costumes, the Roman centurion outfits. We want those to be authentic, obviously. So, yeah, it's going to be pricey, but worth every penny for sure.
So worth it.
On a different note, though, you know what I'm like not fond of?
What's that?
Articles that people write. I was reading an article, it's still up. It's funny, we were just talking about this last week, but this 19th century nurse who was secretly a serial killer. And they got to add this air of mystique and try to set up the thing. I can tell they're like trying to write it like a little novella. And I'm like, dude, just write the fucking article. Stop trying to be a little Stephen King here. Just say what happened.
More Cliff Notes.
Quit being so fucking cute. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of cute, one
Yes,
of my
you rang?
one of my favorite actors,
No.
the former Ellen Page, came out this week as Elliot Page. And apparently he's not going to change his role in the Umbrella Academy, which is currently playing a cisgendered female. But Elliot Page is now Elliot Page. That's who he is.
I think it should have been Elton Page.
Damn it, somebody write his, I don't know, publicist?
Yes.
He missed an opportunity there. Should have been Elton Page. That's what I would have done.
It's not too late for you, son.
And similar enough to Ellen to make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't really make sense, though, if I did that.
Well, you might just be sick of Nick and want to be called Elton from now on.
Yeah, I still could just change my name to Elton Page just for fun.
For no good goddamn reason.
For shits and gigs.
It's true. Well, maybe people would confuse you then with Elliot, because Canada's Prime Minister issued a message of solidarity and support to Elliot Page. And I have to admit, I did not know that Elliot Page was Canadian.
I was just going to ask.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
That's right.
What really makes them a weird person.
That they're Canadian, not that they're transgender. Exactly right. This is a great introduction to our new weekly game, Transgendered or Canadian. And so I'm going to give a list of names. All right. No, we're not going to do that. But we could. The real big news for me, though, which I was very impressed with, was the fact that scientists with the University of California, San Francisco, announced that they had successfully tried a drug compound in mice that reversed age-related declines in memory and mental flexibility, and in general, just kind of cured aging in these mice. And this particular drug, which is known as ISRB, is obviously still only good in mice, but can you imagine if they find a way to make that work in humans? Extraordinary.
I know who I want the first two humans to test it.
Who?
Joe Biden and Peter Shen.
That's fair enough. I
Joe
don't know.
Biden's probably already on that shit.
We can only hope.
That's the only thing keeping him from necrotizing.
And I said ISRB, I meant ISRIB.
Good thing you cleared that up, because, that would have been a fucking scandal.
Well, how am I supposed to find it on the black market if he doesn't tell me what the fuck it is?
I've already gone down to Walgreens and said, hey, if you ever get any of this shit in, just let me know, because I could use it. Elsie is right.
How much would you think something like that would cost for old average Joe?
Well, average Joe...
And I mean average, I'm not saying like Joe Biden, I mean like an average person.
I would say that it probably, if it's ever released on the market, it will be too expensive for anybody who is just a normal person to get.
Yeah, probably.
It's pretty fucked up how jaded we are about that kind of shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, you all don't know anything about it. It might be cheap. Might be like amoxicillin.
Maybe. But why, though? Why would you do that? Just make money off it. Why make it cheap? You want your memory, don't you? You love your grandpa, don't you? You're going to pay us.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, let's get a little philosophical. It's a good time to be alive. There's not a lot of outright violence and war like there used to be. There's a certain degree of law and order that, for the most part, at least 50% part, serves everyone in society. A lot of people don't know the violence that people hundreds of years ago do know, the horrors of common life that, we've gotten rid of because of medicine and shit and good laws. But the cruelty still exists. It's still there, just in different forms. Like, yeah, we have the medicine, but we're going to enslave you for it. You want the medicine, don't you? Well, then it's going to be like every penny you have. We can give it to you if you don't have the money. You could work with us on this, but you'll be paying us for the rest of your natural life. Shit like that.
Yeah, if you think indentured servitude ever went away, you're wrong.
Indentured servitude is just slavery with extra steps.
There's a way, though. There's a way to get all of the benefits of ISRIB without taking any medicine at all.
Hi, I'm Nutritional Doctor of Nutrition, Dr. Norris Sundergund, here to explain to you the hidden fountain of youth that other doctors don't want you to know about. It's a medical miracle that's been under our noses the entire time. You've heard about the medical advances made possible by experiments on mice, rats, and macaques, turning back the clock on old age, dementia, cancer, and AIDS. And what do they do with these supremely healthy animal specimens when the experiment is over? They throw them right in the rubbish! That's where I step in. I process discarded experimental subjects into your choice of zesty bite-sized nuggets or a kind of spicy jerky. So for a surprisingly affordable monthly subscription, you can eat your way to immortality. Just go to healthmeat.gov and enter promo code LABWASTE for a 15% discount at checkout and mention a Shin Show to be placed under government surveillance.
Dr. Norris Sundergaard is a doctor of library science. Zesty nuggets and spicy jerky sold by weight, not by volume. Not proven to turn back the clock on old age, dementia, or cancer. Side effects may include mood swings, insomnia, excessive shyness, and skin rashes. Son of a Gunder sauce available upon request.
Check this out. This person on Reddit has like expertly photoshopped the members of Congress. So instead of suits, they're wearing NASCAR jackets. You know what I mean? This is how you can tell who bought them. And they're like walking around and shit. It's really masterfully done. It's very well done. I think that should be a thing. We should get some legislature that they have to wear NASCAR jackets. Full NASCAR jumpsuit.
Disclosing their donors.
Yeah, definitely. And they have to drive the cars too. The cars have to look like NASCAR cars.
Well, I can tell you from my time working in the Senate that most senators don't drive themselves, so that won't be a thing. But back to your earlier point, which is that we live in a golden age. Think about this. In the 50-some years since human beings first landed on the moon, here's some things that have happened since then. We've developed reusable rockets that land on their own.
That is so cool, dude. I watched the SpaceX things that re-land Saturday or whatever. Super cool.
I've seen it live. I can confirm it is super fucking cool. We also have planes that can take off, fly, and land completely autonomously. We have...
Very cool. If you're
That's
rich
right.
enough, you might just be able to ride one.
We have computer chips now, as you know, Sarah, that use 3 watts of power with the performance of early supercomputers. We have terabyte storage the size of your thumbnail. Drug vaccines that take just a couple of days to create. It takes longer to test than it does to create. Much longer. Sequencing entire genomes in a week. Free gene editing at will. Crops that are nearly impervious to drought and grow in the worst soil imaginable, and on and on and on. It's a great time to be alive. That's my argument.
Can I go with a bathroom in the house that flushes and products of convenience, mostly made of paper and cotton?
All right, you're on your period, so I understand why you're saying that.
No, but like seriously, I can't even imagine what it was like back in the day. And not even that long back in the day. But nonetheless, washing your hands after going to the bathroom, that's great.
People believing in germs, that they exist at all, that's good.
Right, real good.
The guy who like proposed that germs existed was ridiculed for years. All the doctors were like, oh, there's no way there's tiny little invisible men crawling around inside you.
How big do you think bacteria are?
Bigger than you think. I'm glad that people do believe those things. And the point is that we are living in a golden age. So when you say everything sucks, in one sense it's true. But the reality is that things have never been better.
Yeah, sure. But I'm just saying, like, what is the overarching reason that back in the day things were so fucked? Not just because we were stupid. We were. The ignorance was a big problem. But also just because humans have like a baseline for cruelty. You know, everyone knows that humans do things that animals don't do as far as cruelty goes. And that has changed forms but not gone away.
That's true.
Probably never will.
Well, it
No,
might.
maybe it will, but I think it's a human thing to be like that. When you have a certain amount of power over people, you just don't ever want to let it go. You want your children to have it because you care about your kids. You don't care about anyone else's kids. That's just how it goes.
Okay.
Me before thee.
That's the way it's always been.
It's the tragedy of the commons. But I'll tell you one thing that gives me faith in humanity. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
I would love to hear it.
There's been a petition that Amber Heard be kicked off of Aquaman 2, and it's gotten 1.6 million signatures.
Not enough. Should be twice that.
Is that going to do anything? Like,
Well, it
who's
might.
going to see this petition?
The studio executives.
Oh, so they might say,
It's
like,
a
oh, this will hurt our
publicity.
ticket sales if we don't ixnay
Yeah.
this bitch.
Yes, exactly.
Well, good for those people who signed the petition.
Would you like to add your name?
Have you signed it?
No, but I could find it.
Would you sign it?
Sure. I don't give a shit.
See, that's the thing, is I don't really give a shit.
Well, in that case, don't worry about it.
I feel bad for Johnny Depp. He got fucked. I do feel bad, but also, like, you're Johnny Depp, so...
So you're still cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think he should be taken out of his movie deals. That's fucked up. They should undo that. But also, if they don't, who fucking cares, really? He's Johnny Depp.
Do you feel the same way about Amber Heard, though?
No, she should be punished. I mean, in a right and just world, yeah, she should be punished. She should be taken out of a couple of movies, at least double the movies he got taken off of. And then, given a chance to repent, all that. But that's not the way shit works. That's not going to happen.
Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll see. First things first, we'll see if she ends up in Aquaman 2. And I prefer to call Aquaman because it sounds funny.
Aquaman 2. Yeah, when is that set to release? Aquaman 2.
I haven't the foggiest. 2021 sometime, I believe. Maybe 2022. I don't even know if they're fucking filming it.
Yeah,
Did
because if they already filmed the whole fucking thing, you're going to have to do reshoots. They may just cut their losses and be like, yeah, we're just going to keep her in.
Well, I don't know. They did that with The Dark Knight or whatever. Rachel was in it. It was Katie Holmes, and they just completely revised the role with a new actress with no explanation whatsoever.
Well, I don't know, like, how far into production they changed the actresses, is all I'm saying. Like, if they have already shot and now they're just doing the special effects.
That's one thing. But that's not the case. They haven't actually started filming that movie yet.
Did you see that Warner Brothers is going to be streaming all of their movies that they release in 2021?
I did see that. There's a lot of angst about that amongst movie theater owners.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's the death toll.
The death knoll.
I will say it won't affect my moviegoership in any way, shape, or form. The movies I want to see in the theater are the movies I want to see in the theater. And I know that I'm probably not the only type of person out there, but I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, it's whether or not they can survive until then. Because, yeah, I love going to the movies, dude. I love it. But
if they
can
don't
they survive until things go back to normal?
If the current movie theaters don't survive, which a lot of them have a lot of fucking money, but if they don't, movie theaters themselves aren't going to go extinct. We all agree that sometimes you just want to go to the movies. So if these ones don't survive, that sucks. Maybe you should ask for a better government to take care of its businesses. I don't know, but other ones will come up.
It's funny you say that, though, because the government did try and take care of some of these small businesses through something called the Paycheck Protection Program. In fact, you're familiar with this program, Nicholas, because China Buffet, where you used to work, initially hired you and Taylor back on at $10 an hour.
It was $13 an hour.
Better yet, because they had gotten Paycheck Protection Program loans. Now, it turns out that it wasn't just small businesses that got these PPP loans. For example, businesses associated with President Trump's companies also got PPP loans, in addition to several large corporations and, crucially, that's right, the Church of Scientology. And I use air quotes around the word church. So they got about $4 million in Paycheck Protection Program loans, PPP loans, despite the fact that supposedly they're an organized religion.
How does the separation of church and state work in that particular fucking thing?
It doesn't work very well because it turns out the Catholic Church also got some PPP loans.
So are they a church or are they a business?
Both. For example, Hillsong, you've heard me talk about their pastor who got in trouble in New York City and all that. But in Australia, there's no such thing as this carve-out tax-exempt status. And so Hillsong in Australia is a company that makes about 95 million Australian dollars a year. And yeah, these are businesses. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you call them a religion or not, they're businesses. And so, Sarah, you pointed out to me the Church of Universal Energy and the Infinite Multiverse failed in its duty to secure Paycheck Protection Program loans. But that's where you're wrong. I got about $7 million in loans. The government's coming after me pretty hard, so I've retained some legal counsel.
Smart.
Hey folks, it's your old friend Zeke Slopa from acclaimed disclaimer law firm Slopa, Toe Jam, and Crunch, here to tell you about our expansion into Paycheck Protection Program fraud defense. Maybe you always intended to hire employees, but you just never got to it. Maybe your firm is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that didn't necessarily need more of the government's money. Maybe you don't actually have a business. None of these scenarios need result in any forfeiture beyond our fees. Listen to these satisfied customers.
I say, these boys really know how to fuck the man.
I stole from the government and got away with it.
Look, if a small business has to drown because I got their cash, then good.
So call right now, toll free to 866-PPP-PPPP and keep your free money today.
Guys, I have a question. Like, I'm trying to make sense of this thing that I'm seeing, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Is it the paycheck Dad gave you? Because I didn't get a fucking paycheck.
No. There's a tweet from this guy named Michael Malice, who's been on the Joe Rogan show a couple of times. I've never listened to it, but I don't get if this is like a right-wing statement or a left-wing statement. It doesn't make any sense to me, but he says, replace coronavirus with Jews, and suddenly the behavior of 1930s German population becomes eerily similar. What is he trying to say? Is he saying a bad thing? I don't even get what he's saying.
What he's saying, without reading the article, I think
it's not an article, it's a tweet. That's just all it says.
I think what he's trying to suggest is that mandatory mask wearing is the same as the German government forcing Jews to wear Stars of David to identify themselves. And later on, in the concentration and death camps, especially the concentration camps where some of the inmates had some hope of survival for some period of time, generally not very long, but they made the inmates wear various stars and colored patches to identify what kind of prisoner they were. Jews, of course, wore a yellow Star of David. The LGBTQA community, they were forced to wear pink triangles.
Yeah, I know all that. So what is he saying, that the government saying you have to wear a mask is like that?
Yes, that's exactly what this guy is trying to say. Of course, it's insane. It's wrong. There's no comparison. It's not even apples and oranges. It's horrific and offensive.
That's funny because there's a comment here that says, stand 6 feet away from everyone to prevent contracting Jews? Yeah, it doesn't work. You must wear a face mask so you don't breathe in any Jews.
Also
My
doesn't
mom
work.
has Jews.
Yeah, it doesn't work at all. Whoever tweeted that is a dumbass, moron, idiot.
Yeah, it didn't even make sense. I obviously had to have someone explain it to me. Another of the top comments is, this is so stupid, it's basically impossible to refute.
Indeed. It's just a ridiculous thing. So we're not going to refute it or spend any time on it. Although there are plenty of people, in fact, friends of mine, who feel like a mask mandate is some sort of egregious imposition on their freedoms. I disagree with that.
I saw in Data is Beautiful, which is a subreddit that I'm subscribed to, the death toll comparison between the U.S. adjusted for population compared to South Korea, and our shit is 600 times higher adjusted for population.
Yeah, we're reaching a 9/11 every day scenario.
My point is that South Korea had a mask mandate, and do you know what it did? It saved lives.
Weird.
Japan did too. I saw a lot of things that Japan didn't shut down any public transportation. It's a lot of people on a small island. Their public transportation is always packed, but they kind of always wore masks anyway because of the pollution and shit. So like this wasn't a big deal to them. And even though their shit didn't really shut down like some other places, their numbers have been insanely low because everyone wears a mask.
All the time, and it's just part of their culture. The other thing that I think is interesting about this is because it's a political situation, right? Which is at least 50% of Americans do not believe that there is an appropriate government role in almost anything except national defense. Everything else is too heavy-handed. We need the government out of everything. And as a result, this is what we see. I'm not saying the government is the solution for everything. What I am saying is that a national government has a responsibility to have a coordinated fucking response to a pandemic. They have a responsibility to do that. And our failure to do that has cost hundreds of thousands of lives. You have to lay that on President Trump's feet. And why half of the American people still think he's a god, it just does not speak well about the intelligence of the American people. It speaks a lot about our gullibility as a society.
Or zealousness. We've always been a country of zealots.
That is true. We have always been a country of zealots, and we remain so.
That makes it seem culty, you know? The whole Trump thing when he tells you not to believe the evidence before your very eyes. What your eyes tell you. And he's like, no, you can't trust that. You trust me. You trust me over everything. And people do it. Seems culty. But wait, there's one more comment on this replace coronavirus with Jews thing that's really funny. This guy responded, he goes, replace the word Uber Eats with cum, and suddenly the behavior of the Olmecs in 1000 BC starts to make a lot more sense.
So true.
What the fuck does that mean?
Because it's truth by word substitution. It's actually a term. Like, you just replace words with other words, and, it's just nonsense. Like, it's not an actual logical argument.
It's kind of a Mad Lib.
Sure, yeah.
Well, it's a ridiculous Mad Lib, and I reject it entirely. But one of the things that I'm glad that it wasn't you, but I saw the headline, Nick, and I thought, well, I'd better just double check. And because the headline was, cheating Nebraska man's clothes bleached, puppy missing. And I know you don't...
yeah.
Yeah, that was me. My clothes have been bleached and my puppy's missing.
Oh, sorry. You're not a man, though.
The reporters can't get everything right.
Or do you have
It's
an
just
announcement?
and I, too, have a dead name now.
I see. I didn't know.
And
we were
that
going.
name? Elliot Shin.
Congratulations. So, this is my favorite quote from this story. Police say clothes were tossed in the bathtub and soaked in bleach. The Christmas tree was knocked over, and dirty diapers were dumped on the bed. The man also says his white Siberian husky puppy, PlayStation 4, and 2 katana swords are gone. Now, I'm just going to say, what kind of guy has these items in his apartment?
I feel like I might be related to people who would be like
that's not
that
crazy.
guy.
Weebs.
That's Weeb Central.
It's my katana.
What's weeb? What does that mean?
A weeb is someone who makes liking anime their entire personality. That's what a
It's-
weeb is.
Isn't it
It's short for
weeaboo?
weeaboo.
Yeah, it's short for weeaboo.
I see.
Don't ask me what that means.
Yeah, I don't know where these things came from. Maybe it's like a bastardization of some sort of Japanese word. I don't know.
I'm just glad it wasn't any of you kids.
Yeah. I
Nice.
do love anime, but it's not my entire personality. But I do love it, though. I've watched a lot, like more than the average person.
Would
I
you?
watch as much anime as a weeb, I'd say. Probably. I just don't usually
Obsess
talk
over it?
about it too much.
So do you have, or have you ever owned a katana sword? Be honest.
Yes. Actually, yes, I have. Got one for
Oh
my
my
birthday when I was in
God.
like 4th grade. There is a scene in the movie Step Brothers with Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly where Will
Yes.
Ferrell pulls out a katana that is signed by Randy Jackson. That was the very same katana. Exactly everything about it. I recognized it immediately. I was like, I had that fucking sword in 4th grade. And the guy, he was at a sword shop in a mall. Dude, he was such a good salesman. Was telling me the authenticness straight from fucking China or whatever the fuck. That sword that I got fell apart in like 2 weeks. Like it came out of the handle and shit. It was just bad.
I mean,
Bad
it came out of
sword.
China, all right.
Sure.
Right.
He wasn't lying.
The home of anime, China, or someplace like it. Oh,
Close
man.
enough. Who cares?
Right, so it lasted about 2 weeks. That's pretty funny. Of course, you were hard on equipment.
Yeah, there wasn't like a lot of stuff you can do with a katana except slowly swing it around,
I see.
pretend to chop things with it.
So you didn't take it into your backyard and like chop down any of those unbelievably huge weeds that you had growing over there.
No, but I did do that with machetes on the regular.
Yeah, that's why I thought you might have done that with that katana, contributing to its demise.
That's the thing. I did nothing with this katana, and it just fell apart in 2 weeks.
China, baby. China. Did you believe that that sword was going to be cheap?
You know, I was a 4th grader, so it probably wasn't too expensive.
Oh, I see. So you said the guy in the shop was really
Well,
on.
it was just like, oh, I don't know which one to get. And he like pulls it off the wall and he's like, this one right here. This one is from the mystical mountains of Tibet or whatever the fuck. You know, he was just selling it to me.
Probably just playing with the 10-year-old, whatever.
My point
Sure.
is you were present for this sale.
Yeah. Mom took me into the mall and she was like, pick whatever you want. Go find something. You can have one thing. Go pick what it is. And I came across a sword store. There were so many swords. Didn't know which one I wanted. So the guy was like, look at this one. He was like the dude from the beginning of Aladdin trying to sell you the lamp. You know what I mean?
It will not break. It will not break.
Salam
It
and
broke.
good evening.
It broke. Yeah, so you didn't think it was cheap. So when it did break, it's not like you could say, I told you so.
No, of course not. No one said that.
But sometimes people do say it. They sure do. Hey, man, I don't feel so good.
You look fine to me, man. Stop worrying about it.
No, I really don't feel so good. I think something's wrong.
Would you shut the fuck up for a second? I'm trying to watch The Umbrella Academy. Sometimes you're just right and they're just wrong. And when you want everyone to know what that really tastes like, it's time to pop open a bottle of Chateau de I Fucking Told You So, You Fucking Moron. The premier dry red Merlot with the slightly bitter aftertaste, aged in premium oak barrels to produce spicy notes of smug righteousness and the satisfying mouthfeel of ultimate vindication. Chateau de I Fucking Told You So, You Fucking Moron. I fucking told you so, you fucking moron. So I talked about this article earlier about this 19th century nurse, and I wanted to read through it real quick while having a conversation and then give you the Cliffs Notes.
Yeah.
I know I already said this, but just write the article. Mary K. McBrayer. Oh, narratively. Okay, I see.
What do you mean?
It just says narratively by Mary K. McBrayer.
Oh, so you just didn't read the fact that it was going to be a story.
So what's the point here?
Point is, I was right. There was a lot of nurses who just like to do that shit. Just kill people slowly, the old bleach in the soup, the old misery thing.
It's been a thing for a long time. And yet, most nurses don't do it.
No, it's not even a lot of nurses that have done it. Well, there's got to be some who never got caught, don't you think?
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe some doctors, too, who just weren't too greedy, were good with a couple of kills every 10 years, something like that, and just got away with it.
Just the annoying ones.
Just the ones who tried to tell you what the diagnosis was and shit like that.
Be nice to your doctors, man, especially if you're going under the knife. That's the moral of that story.
No doubt.
Or they got a kickback from insurance companies for people who didn't have insurance, that the insurance companies pay the doctors to kill those guys.
They have a minimum number of kills they have to make, kind of like how cops have to arrest a minimum number of people.
Right. They have a quota for non-insured kills. These doctors do.
This is a fact, obviously. This is well-researched. This is something you know.
Well, I got a hunch,
I can tell you that I can make a game out of that.
Oh, dude! Write that down. That's a good idea.
It.
Like a game idea where you're a doctor, you have to make an X number of kills.
Yeah, discreetly.
What a great video game.
In a certain amount of time, but if you do it too fast or too sloppily, you get caught. Prison, that's game over. Game over if you don't make the quota.
Rated E for everyone.
Of course.
Better make that virtual reality, too, so that you're actually in the operating room. You're in the patient's room.
You're in the patient's room with a pillow, and you virtually hold it over their face. The nurse flicks on the lights. Oops, prison.
Well, then it's just a restart, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's, what did you call that last week, Nick? It's a roguelike?
Yeah. It's a rogue game. It's hard. You're not going to do it on your first try. You're going to have to try about 15, 20 times. You're going to go to prison, or you get killed by the insurance companies if you don't make the quota. I don't know. We'll work something on that.
Well, one of the penalties could be losing your medical license if you're caught.
If you don't make the quota, you don't get caught, but you don't kill enough people in time for the insurance companies, you don't get the bonus to buy your kid a cool toy for Christmas. That's what this is all about.
Right. It's a Christmas miracle.
Or just a bonus to get the clear coat redone on your Jaguar.
There's a lot of consequences to not meeting your murder quota in this game.
What are we calling it?
Dr. Death, obviously.
The wacky...
All right, Dr. Death. That'll be the working title.
All right, yeah. Dr. Death. We're not married to that. That's just a placeholder.
What about the wacky Dr. Death?
Wacky Death Doctor Insurance
No, that's too much. No. I expect Wacky Wailing Inflatable Arm Tube Man if the wacky's in the title.
Yeah, you're right.
What about Wacky Wailing Inflatable Tube Arm Dr. Death?
Perfect.
Wacky Inflatable Waving Insurance Doctor Scam Death Squad 2020.com.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
All right, I think we got it.
I think we do. Wow, that's going to be a great game. Going to make billions of dollars, obviously. Well, good job, kids. I really think you've done something special tonight.
Oh, here's another article in my Google feed from theguardian.com. How to get good at chess. You don't have to be a polymath like Beth Harmon in The Queen's Gambit. Oh, the people behind The Queen's Gambit totally paid these guys to fucking write this article. Oh, thank God I read this article by theguardian.com. Now I'm good at chess. Wow. They really just taught me how to be good at chess. Thanks, theguardian.com. Who knew you had all the secrets?
Well, speaking of secrets, have you been hearing about these monoliths that have been popping up? One popped up in Utah, one popped up in California, one popped up in Romania. You know what they're all about, right?
No.
Well, I know that people have analyzed them and that they have screws in them, so it's not like some sort of alien thing.
Oh, no.
Are you saying aliens don't have screws?
But also my favorite meme for this, if no one else has seen it, is Southwest actually put their seating numbers on the top and they said, oh, thanks, we finally found it. Because if you've ever had standing queue in Southwest, it's just this big silver block and it's 1 through 10, 10 through 20.
Good marketing on Southwest part.
Exactly.
Aliens don't have screws, Sarah. Everyone knows that.
Of course not. Didn't you listen to that Bob Lazar podcast? They don't have screws.
No, they've got gravity-based engine drives. But what it is, it turns out, is it's a group of artists who were doing art for art's sake. And it worked because it captured the cultural zeitgeist for a moment. Good job, artists.
I guess, yeah. They were in all different parts of the world during a pandemic. So maybe it was like a global thing. It couldn't have been
It was one
guy.
Discord channel. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Well, it was a global conspiracy of artists. There's no question about that.
Yeah, because one guy couldn't fly from Utah to California to Romania. No, not during the pandemic.
Do you think they all did it after, drinking some adrenochrome together?
Sure.
Are you talking about conspiracy theories?
That reminds me, adrenochrome. I was texting my friend Dave.
Crazy Dave.
Yeah, he got COVID, so I was like, hey, man, are you good? You still alive and shit? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. And he's like, what you on tonight? You trying to hang out? And I was like, no, I'm staying at home until the doctor says COVID's not a death sentence. This is his response. He goes, oh, so you're falling for the radical left's agenda to distract you from the fact that they're all getting adrenochrome from kids? I see how it is. I have God and eternal salvation on my side, so I'm good.
But it's Dave, right? So you can't tell if he's fucking with you or not.
No, he's fucking with you. He's always fucking with you. He doesn't say a serious thing ever. It just made me laugh. He's like, I have God and eternal, so I'm good. Like I was the one who asked him to fucking hang out.
Oh, that crazy Dave. He's so full of nonsense. Well, kids, what do you got going on this week?
I got a dryer to be delivered on Friday. That's exciting.
Whoop, whoop.
Congratulations. Nick?
I don't know. I'm going to play more piano this week.
Are you really?
Sure.
I think you should. You've got a piano sitting behind you. Why not use it?
Yeah, right here. I do use it every once in a while. I'll learn a new song and then I'll get it down and I'm like, yeah, I know this new song now. And then I'll never play it again and forget like a week later.
I understand. I regaled Elsie with a harmonica version of Neil Young's Heart of Gold this morning while she was taking a dump. She really appreciated that.
I'm sure she loved that.
Actually, he was just playing it along while also listening to the song. So it was actually some of the best harmonica playing I've heard your father do.
You mean he didn't just get you when you couldn't run away?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he has to do that or else I wouldn't know what it sounds like because I do run away.
Well, there is a little bit of cornering me. Yeah, sure. He corners me a little bit.
Playfully.
It's playfully. It's not like I'm going to hurt her. It's just the implication that I might. That's what keeps her in my little concertos.
In my grasp, as I like to call it.
No one's getting hurt. You just think maybe you could. So that's why you don't run.
It's nice.
It's cute. It's playful.
It's fun. We tickle.
No presh.
Yeah, just a little tickle fight. That's all.
We all walk away laughing. I make personally sure of that.
Right, when we walk.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you, kids.
Good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to everybody. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a small little shit to take of my own.
So nice.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
A Shin Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features the voices and opinions of the Shin family, which are entirely and exclusively their own. Join us each week on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks as always to our regular listeners. We love to hear from you, so if you have a question, comment, recommendation, or idea you would like to submit to a Shin Show, please email us at ashinshow@gmail.com, and we will be happy to ignore it, belittle you publicly, or steal your ideas if you actually have a good one.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.